From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Friday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. Our guest today, Peter Burns from ESPN. You're going to talk a good bit of Ole Miss football, a little Ole Miss basketball as well with him. He's a Blue Delta guy, Neal, and we'll get into plenty of sports with Peter coming up here in a little bit on a podcast. Podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Remember to get your Stadium Cup from Swayze. They're back at home next week. They get the school day game at 11 a.m. Tuesday against UNA, North Alabama, in their first year as Division I. Ole Miss on the road in Fayetteville this weekend, starting out with Arkansas tonight at 8 o'clock. We talked to Tom Murphy earlier in the week. If you did not hear that, you can go back and check it out. But nonetheless, get your Stadium Cup. Refill it for 49 cents with the Oxford Exxon. Remember to get your tickets now for the FCA breakfast. That is April 27th. That's the Saturday of Double Decker. It is at the Manning Center that morning. Find out more at OleMissFCA.com. The Kessinger family is a special guest this year, presented by Craddock Oil. And again, coming from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call the number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what new Ford you're looking for. He will send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. What you looking for?
My phone.
Oh,
it's right here. Got it.
Oh, okay. Chase was frantic.
My appendage, it's.
Chase was frantically looking for something.
I was kind of like doing that cat thing, where they kind of like hit all over the
I thought maybe
bed.
he lost his child or something, but turns out it was his phone. It was even more important. I'm kidding. Clark Ford, 662-257-1900. Call the number. Ask for Corey. Tell Corey what new Ford you're looking for. Look, here's the deal. If you think you're in the market for a vehicle, if you think you might be in the market for a vehicle, even if you're not necessarily sure that you want to get a Ford, call Corey. Get a quote. Quote's going to give you, at the very least, a baseline moving forward. It might do for you what it did for me, and that's really pique your interest even further. And then you go further down the road, and what happens when you do that is Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. I don't really know how to explain what that means. If you start talking to Corey, you'll start to understand it. 662-257-1900. There's great service, delivery options. The people there are fantastic. If you're living in Birmingham or wherever, they'll get it to you. They'll work it out. 662-257-1900. Tell him at the end of your deal that you heard about Clark Ford on the podcast. You'll save $500.
So, let's see. Could be a big day for Ole Miss today, right?
Yeah, look, they're getting a big basketball commitment. It's coming today. I think we're kind of letting the kid have his moment. It's cool. It's no surprise. If you've been following me or, I'll be honest, if you followed me, if you followed Ben Garrett, if you followed anybody who covers Ole Miss basketball recruiting, you've known this was coming. It's a significant recruit. I think, and look, guys, I've pissed a lot of people off with Keep It Real over the years, but I'm going to keep it real. I think they're going to have one hell of a basketball recruiting class this year, which will mean next year they're only going to have a couple spots. And this guy's a significant signee. He's a kid with, and he's a 2020
currently.
Yeah. He's got another year of high school left after he finishes this one.
No reclassification possibilities with him?
I guess it's possible, but I haven't heard any buzz there, really. He's a special player. Grown a lot, got a chance. We'll see. I mean,
don't care what his ranking is, by the way.
Yeah, and the whole hang up on stars, I don't – screw it. Look at offers.
Got a lot of offers.
Yeah, and you know, he got evaluated earlier and he's hit a growth spurt. I'm sure he'll get reevaluated. I don't know. I've gotten that question 20 times already, and I'm fatigued with it. I don't know. What difference does it make? I'm not trying to be flippant. What difference does it make? In my opinion, he should be a 5-star player. My opinion doesn't really matter, but it's an opinion that is apparently shared by a lot of top basketball people around the country. Their opinions probably should matter, and they do. I've said this before. It's guys like Bossy and Evans and Kristen Peak and the people that are involved in the basketball recruiting thing. That is really hard to evaluate that many kids and get it right. And to expect them to be perfect is silly and stupid and unfair, and I don't. So the whole hang-up about stars, just let it go. Let it go. It doesn't matter. They're recruiting high-level kids right now. They're recruiting Kadeem Sy, and they're recruiting Austin Crowley, and they're recruiting Jamin Brakefield, and they have legitimate shots at all of those kids. Those are impact players. They are involved in the transfer market quite a bit. The kid from Bucknell, who I listed in Chicks the other day, definitely a priority for Ole Miss. He's also a priority for Kentucky. It shows you the waters that they're swimming in right now.
It's different than anything we've seen, at least since you and I have been around it. I mean, they got to finish because you had the year with O'Brien and Kai Madden and Andre Hollins and all those guys. But it's from this late in the process where it looks like it's trending. At least I have not seen this to this point.
Nor have I.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, this is a little bit of uncharted.
I think in the Rivals era, this is the first time.
Yeah, a little bit of uncharted waters. And I did a soft verbal, published it yesterday with Corey Evans, and I've had some people say, well, Corey didn't – look, when you're keeping up with 200 kids, you know, you're not going to be just fluent.
Especially on a JUCO kid.
Yeah,
that's going to fall.
Yeah, you're not going to be fluent on everyone. Just relax. There was no slap. Corey's pretty high on Kermit Davis. Thinks Ole Miss is about to make a move. I do too. We taped the greatest pod in the South yesterday. I thought it was interesting. Jay Tate, who covers Auburn for Rivals, said he sees a lot of similarities in this year's Ole Miss team to last year's Auburn team.
Ole Miss would take that.
Yeah, Ole Miss would take a Sweet 16 next year for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
If you offered Kermit, hey, you want to go to the Sweet 16 next year? No promises after that, but guaranteed the Sweet 16, he'd say, allow me to cut myself, and where do you want me to sign? Let me get the blood going here. He'd sign that in DNA.
We, as I mentioned earlier, we talked to Tom Murphy the other day talking about Arkansas baseball. He thought that Arkansas would switch over to a left-hander on Saturday. They are going to keep their right-handed option on Saturday. Connor Nolan throwing on Saturday for the Hogs. So they're going righty, righty, righty this weekend against the Rebels. Ole Miss probably not upset about that, I'm assuming. As Isaiah Campbell, who's been very, very good for the Hogs, 5-0, 1.93 ERA, 51 Ks to 5 walks, goes against Will Etheridge tonight at 8 o'clock. I know I'm jinxing, but hey, I'm not there. I'm not covering it, so let it go. This might be one of those that could go quick tonight in Fayetteville between Campbell and Etheridge.
Yeah, 51 strikeouts to 5 walks is a pretty solid ratio right there.
That's not
good.
bad. That'll
pretty
play.
Good. That'll work.
Yeah, Saturday, Connor Nolan is mentioned. He has started every weekend game Arkansas has lost this season. He hasn't been awful, but he's only gotten to the 5th inning one time out of his 6 starts or so. And just kind of been mediocre. He's a freshman. It happens. It's what it kind of looks like, and it shows you that they are probably struggling with some pitching depth. They lost a lot from last year off their team that should have won the national title. And then on Sunday again, going with Cody Scroggins, 36-10 with his K to walk, not too bad either. They move forward against Gunnar Hoagland.
Is it safe to say this is one of those weekends that probably both coaches go into this thing sort of tentative a little bit, not really knowing what to expect out of their teams?
Well, and some of that's because I know Arkansas went and played USC, and I know they played Texas in the midweek, and obviously Ole Miss played Louisville and East Carolina in the midweek, but they both started with Arkansas and Missouri, and now Arkansas went 5-1, credit to them. But if you're Arkansas,
Alabama and Missouri is what you meant.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Alabama and Missouri. if you're Arkansas, though, it's can we hit? Can we hit? Are we sure we can hit? Because you look at it, and against Missouri, they did what they're supposed to do, which going into even the Ole Miss series against Missouri, I said, look, you got to play defense, you've got to maximize your opportunities, and you're going to have to hit a little bit because Missouri can pitch it. You know they got T.J. Sycamore on Saturday. They've got some arms, even though they're dreadful offensively most of the time. And Arkansas found a way to sweep that series, only scoring 9 runs in the entire weekend. They scored 9 runs, won the series. I think they scored 2, 3, and 4, if I have that right. And they lose a game to Alabama 10-0 during that series, which is no big deal. You're going to get blown out in baseball some. But I think they have some question marks. I think they're still kind of scrambling. They're trying to find the Saturday starter. They're trying to find some offense. And, frankly, Ole Miss has kind of had their number over the years in Fayetteville a pretty good bit. So, yeah, I think Arkansas goes into this going, hey, we got them at home. We got a great opportunity here. Ole Miss is not playing great. Let's take advantage. But we did what we were supposed to do earlier to give us some cushion, even if we do drop a couple. We're not going to get swept. We're going to win one at least. So let's just kind of move on. Because, you offer this to Dave Van Horn, he would have taken 6-3 after the first 3 weekends and moved ahead with his day.
Oh, sure.
All good.
Absolutely.
So,
all you really want, just don't dig a hole.
have some fun with some sample sizes here. I read about this last night. I went through and looked at some averages against Ole Miss left and right, and everybody knows about the struggles left-handed. But I'll confuse you and turn your head into a pretzel a little bit right now. So the Rebels are hitting .304 against right-handers this season. They're hitting .234 against lefties this season. It bats more right-handed, but not a huge difference in sample size. However, only 6 league games, just 6. A lot of crap can happen. Ole Miss is only hitting – this is the problem overall offensively, and it's why Ole Miss has got to get going. It's why I focused on Thomas Dillard because, it's not just up to him, but he's kind of the engine. He and Ryan Olenek are the motors that makes this thing work for Ole Miss. So if those two guys aren't hitting, it just becomes very, very complicated. Thomas Dillard 3 for 20 so far in the SEC games this season. And he gives a quote that kind of puts it on everybody a little bit. He said, we have a lot of confidence in ourselves. We sat around and thought about it a little bit, meaning they're thinking too much. But at the end of the day, we know we're good, all 1 through 9. We have to figure it out. There are things I can do better to help us win, and frankly, there's things all of us can do better. We need to just relax, have fun, and try to make something happen. Pretty profound words from Mr. Dillard there. But point being, only 6 games. They're hitting .223 as a team in SEC play. Not near going to cut it. Here's the funny part, though. .254 against left-handers, .205 against right-handers so far in SEC play. So they're just not hitting anybody. Doesn't really matter which way it goes. Again, 6 games, way too small of any kind of sample size. But when I looked it up, I didn't expect to see that was more the point. I pulled it up last night and went, ooh, wow. Also not getting off anything out of their bench. I don't know that I have it up in front of me. Actually, I kind of do. Let me find it here if I have it. Ole Miss is not doing very well from pinch hitting. They're actually, and this is one of those things that, whatever, over a small sample size too, but they're better off just kind of finding 9 and leaving it because they don't have that guy off the bench right now that's sort of accomplished and able to go in there and immediately get hits. Ole Miss, the worst or second worst team in the SEC from a pitch hitting standpoint, 5 of 34 so far this season is as a pinch hitting team. So just something to kind of look forward to is, they do that a good bit late in games. They like to kind of do some matchup stuff, and it hasn't worked at all. They're 5 of 34 so far this season from a pitch hitting standpoint. 135,
something like that.
Well, it's one of those deals though too where you look at it and it shows that it's 27-man travel rosters. Guys are starting for a reason, other than a couple exceptions. Hope Herzog got hot for Ole Miss. Michael Fitzsimmons has had some past history of being successful. We'll see if maybe he gets some at bats trying it. You've got your 9 out there for a reason. They are clearly better than the other guys. Play them. Just let it go. Because when I look at it as a league, they're only hitting .217 as pinch hitters. Pinch hitters don't get hits. I mean, you're far below the norm from a pinch hitting standpoint in this league. The only school with pinch hitting over 300, there's a couple of them. LSU is hitting .375, 6 of 16. State is hitting .342, 13 of 38. And then Arkansas, 7 of 16 for .438. Otherwise, it's just dreadful. Auburn's 0 for 10. Alabama's 5 for 28. Georgia's 6 for 27. Kentucky's 2 for 21. I mean, it's rough. A&M's 6 of 30. Vanderbilt's 2 of 25. Even Vanderbilt can find scholarship players down there to do it.
Well, if they just If they could just get some scholarships to work with there at Vanderbilt, it's just the
Tim Corbin ought to use that as evidence and go, look, guys, we need some help. I need the academic department to play along a little bit.
Yeah, it's just the little engine that
We're the private school that just keeps getting shut down over here.
Unbelievable.
I know. All those schools with their lotteries and stuff.
Yeah, man, they're over there. I mean, it's expensive.
See, look, LSU's hitting 375 or whatever
lottery.
it is.
They're benefiting from that lottery. Tim Corbin goes, we need a Vanderbilt lottery.
Vanderbilt lottery. You have one. You're endowment.
The little engine that could.
Football up at rebelgrove.com. Archie Breland with the notebook. Some video last night, as well as the story I was quoting from a baseball standpoint. There's some recruiting up. Russell, a story on one of the recent commitments this morning. That is up on the site at rebelgrove.com. And you've got a beer garden with someone. Yeah. You've done so many dang podcasts this week. I don't know who you talked to. You talked to somebody.
I talked to Ryan Brown. It's really good. We talked about I had a great question for him. I'll throw it to you.
Sure.
So, talked to Ryan Brown. We talked some Major League Baseball. Not
Did you ask
much.
him about his trip?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Talked a little Major League Baseball, very little. Then we got into a lot of college basketball, a lot of college football.
Is he a Nationals fan?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And so we were taping it as the Nationals were playing the Mets on the openers. That's the reason it came up.
Okay.
And we talked about his trip to Onawai, Nebraska.
That's right.
So I asked him a question.
Okay.
I said, so you can make an argument that Clemson has passed Alabama. And you can make an argument that Alabama is still number one. But whichever one you don't put at number one, you put at number two. Alabama and Clemson are the top two programs in college football today.
Sure.
Who's number three?
Oklahoma.
Wow, you don't even hesitate.
They've been to playoffs. Look at their history in the playoffs. They've done it multiple times. They've got back-to-back Heisman winners.
That's true.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma.
Who's number four?
Oh, now we're getting into a mess. It's Ohio State.
That's what he said, too.
It's Ohio State. Just off the top of my head, without looking at anything, I don't have anything up. It's Ohio State.
Who's number five?
Now you're really getting to a cesspool of...
Is it Georgia? Or has Georgia not gotten over the hump enough?
I'm okay with Georgia. That's fine. Yeah, I'm okay there, I think. Unless there's just something that's not getting to my mind right now. I have no problem with that. But when I look at... Here's the thing. What's your history on who's the best program right now? How many years are you actually taking into account?
Well, that's what we're kind of talking about. We're talking from the perspective of a recruit. And let's be honest, that's 2-3 years tops.
It's not much more than that, is it?
No. If you're 17 years old, you don't really care what happened when you were 7.
No. I mean, I'm looking at it here. Okay.
I mean, Carson's 12. If I talked to Carson about Cubs history, he goes back to about 2015.
So the college football playoff started in 2014 because Ole Miss was in the first ranking. It was that year.
Yeah.
Right? 14? I'm correct. Because Ole Miss and State were both in their...
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
it's 14.
I had to think for a minute, yeah.
All right. So it's 2014. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We've had 5 years.
Okay.
Here's the number of appearances by team in the college football playoff. Because I think 5 years is a good that's a good...
It's as far back as I'm willing to go. So
yeah,
yes.
You could even go shorter, but I'll go 5 years.
Okay.
Alabama 5 times.
It's pretty consistent.
Clemson 5 times.
Pretty consistent.
Alabama's 6-3 in the college football playoff. Clemson's 5-2 in the college football playoff.
Okay.
Here's where it gets funny. I've got Oklahoma next, and they've gone 3 times. 3 out of 5. I'm sticking with Oklahoma.
Okay.
They're 0-3.
I'm not fighting you.
They're 0-3. Haven't won a game in the playoffs.
That's kind of what I mean. They haven't gotten over
Ohio State, 2 appearances, but they're 2-1
because they won a title.
They won a title,
but they lost Urban Meyer to this deal. So do they take a step back?
Georgia's been once. Oregon's been once. Florida State's been once. Michigan State's been once. Notre Dame's been once. Washington's been once. That's it.
Huh.
So we've had 20 possible teams. Alabama's a quarter of them.
And Clemson's a quarter of them. They
almost a quarter of them. 4.
Okay. Yeah.
And then Oklahoma's 3, Ohio State's 2, and we got 6 teams that have been once. That's it.
Everybody loves to do the great thing about college football is parity. There is no parity.
Yeah, I can't wait for Clemson, Alabama 6 next year.
But if you're picking, that's what you're picking.
It's that with, hey, can Georgia get over the hump? Because I think Oklahoma takes a step back, barring, I don't know what the Big 12 is, but barring that, Jalen Hurts is not the dynamic guy that Baker or Kyler Murray is.
No.
He's like, I mean, he's a game manager in a lot of ways. He's not going to be this prolific star. They're going to have to completely change how they do things to make him successful.
And they had to win games with offense the last 2 years. Baker and Kyler had to take
their defense
games
was
over.
horrid.
Yeah, they had to take games over.
Jalen's never had to deal with a horrid defense.
No.
I mean, he's got the same type of kind of figure it out going on that Jay Bateman does. He went from Army to dealing with Phil Longo this season. So, I mean, you know.
No, chase the space. Chase the space. Grass. Chase that the open area there. Just chase it.
In all seriousness, Bateman has to get to a situation where he had to really 50 plays a game. Now he's going to be out there 90 plays a game.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was my favorite press conference thing, and it was the funniest deal was every week Wesley McGriff would find a way to accurately work in the fact that his guys are out there 85 plays a game.
He was right.
It was the most passive-aggressive thing in history. Is every single week he found a way to mention 80 plays a game.
Somebody sent me a text after like week 8 going, why does he keep saying that? I'm like, well, he kind of has a point.
He wanted that out there.
Well, do you blame him?
Look, he had his own problems, but that was an accurate one. I
mean, getting lined up was an issue, but when you're having to get lined up 90 times, it's a problem.
Yeah. Let's talk to Peter Burns in 1 minute. Before we do that, I'll tell you about Scripted Jewelry, scriptedjewelry.com. Go to the website. Mother's Day is going to sneak up on you if you're not careful, so let Scripted Jewelry take care of Mother's Day for you with recent work. They've got a complete section on the front page just about Mother's Day, all the different ways you can personalize jewelry, personalize gifts for Mother's Day. The order deadline is not until April 25th, but take advantage of it now. Get it done. Click on some of these examples. Shop it now. Take advantage of it and save money in the process. Rebels 10, REBELS 10 to save 10% with scriptedjewelry.com.
I wanted to tell you guys, we told you about it yesterday. We're excited to invite you to the Blue Delta Jeans on the Square, the Blue Delta Jeans party, their 5th birthday party, 5th anniversary party, whichever way you want to look at it, on the Square in Oxford, Sunday, April the 28th. That's double-decker weekend. Join the great people of Blue Delta Jeans for music, Bloody Marys, Big Bad Breakfast Biscuits, and check out their new line of blue jeans from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're on the Square. We'll have more details about the party as we get closer to it. But what they're doing, and I know, Chase, you're going to be pretty excited about some of this. They're launching their spring-summer line of denim and Holland and Cherry.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same people, man, that have created custom patterns for Grammy winners such as Jason Isbell, who will be in Oxford that weekend.
That's correct.
World Series winners, Super Bowl winners, Chicago Cubs, lots of Cubs.
Lots of Cubs.
NASCAR drivers, Oscar Award winners, and they'll be there to fit you too. So you get to come out, you get to be one of the cool kids. We've been telling you for a while, just keep listening to us. It's going to pay off one of these days. Here's the beginning of the payoff. See, you get invited to hang out with us, and more importantly, with the people at Blue Delta, and you get to be one of the cool people. Check out. You're going to want to check out the jeans. You can get fitted right there. It's fantastic. So it's a great product. We've been telling you about this for a while. Once you put a pair of Blue Deltas on, your very first thought will be, which pair am I getting next? It happens over and over. So here's how this works, though. It's a private event. So what you have to do is you have to follow Blue Delta Jeans on Instagram or Twitter, and their DMs are open.
You can slide in.
You can slide into their DMs and just RSVP. Tell them you're coming. Give them your name. Tell them you're coming. Throw a phone number at them, whatever. And you'll get on the list to get through the doors on Sunday, April the 28th on the Square. It's the Blue Delta Jeans birthday party. Bloody Marys, biscuits, and blue jeans. Kind of hard to beat that. We'll be there too, so you can come and hang out with Chase and see me hide in a corner, and it'll be a lot of fun. This is a podcast that is also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. When you call OUB, you speak directly with the live person. You don't have to press 10 buttons. You don't have to wait 5 minutes. You get Kasasa. It's a great cash checking account. OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 with Kasasa, and ATM fees nationwide are refunded. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. And I've been telling you for a while now about Savannah Square. If you're coming into town next weekend for baseball and the Grove Bowl and all of that stuff, and maybe you're coming into town later in April for Double Decker and the Blue Delta Jeans party, thinking about thinking about moving to Oxford, thinking about making Oxford a second home, thinking about retiring in Oxford, whatever the case may be, check out Savannah Square. It's a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square. It's conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. And restaurants such as Volta and Oxford Canteen. Savannah Square initially consists of 32 standalone detached structures ranging in size from about 1,100 square feet to about 2,400 square feet. The model home is available for your inspection. It's at 215 William Street. I've been in it. It's really cool. They have great layouts, impeccable finishes. You can choose kind of how you want to make it yours. But it's a fantastic area. The location's great. So give Harry Alexander a call. Take a look at the model. Get more information about this great new development while units are still available. You can view more at SavannahSquareOxford.com or give Harry Alexander with RE/MAX Legacy Realty a call or text 662-801-5621.
By now you know that MasterCuts provides premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi. Did you know they offer a lot more? MasterCuts will build your custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, any outdoor living spaces, paver patios starting at just $3,000, and forestry mulching starting at just $100 an hour. They do lighting as well. The path to your dream backyard will be easier than you think. Go online to gomastercuts.com for a free quote, or you get that free quote calling 662-607-7773. Again, gomastercuts.com. Now here's ESPN's Peter Burns on the Patterson-Earhart Hotline.
All right, Peter, thanks for spending some time with us. Really appreciate it. I know you were in Oxford earlier in the week. You got a chance to spend some time with the football staff. I assume maybe some other people as well. It was probably your first time around Rich Rodriguez, Mike McIntyre, since they've been named the coordinators at Ole Miss. What was kind of your vibe on the dynamic that those guys have with each other and also with Matt Luke?
Yeah, first of all, I didn't want to leave, man. You get a couple of good meals down there in Oxford, and you're like basically saying, hey, let's just pick up all our belongings and move the SEC Network offices out there. Man, we had a good time, but yeah, it's interesting because you talk about I when I first met Rich Rod and Mike McIntyre, I had them back-to-back interviews where I do a little sit-down and we talk and stuff, and you could not have two completely different people, right? Like Rich Rod is still kind of, fiery, kind of has an edge right in your face, and Mike McIntyre looks like the guy that's about to lead kind of like, church service and kind of quiet and very measured with his words. And at first I thought, man, that's kind of different, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, that's kind of what this team needs. Neil, you've been around this team. I mean, Matt Corral has a little bit of an edge to him, and I think that it's good that he's got somebody that's going to push him like Rich Rod. And I think that defense needs someone who's just going to be, hey, listen, we don't need real fiery. We just need concepts and schemes and legitimately lining up the right way. So I think it was a great little fit that I saw, early in the spring tour we took for the SEC Network.
It's amazing how many people just talk about lining up the right way. There are people around the program who say, I talked to someone, I guess, on Tuesday who said, yeah, I said, how'd the scrimmage go Saturday? Because obviously it's closed to media, and I'm not one of these media that complain about it. I get it.
Right.
I said, how'd they look in the scrimmage? He wouldn't give any details away. He goes, defense looks better. And I just kind of looked at him like, what do you mean? He goes, well, we're lined up right. And that comes across as a slap, but look, they weren't lined up right a lot of times last year. They weren't in the right place. Fans roll their eyes at stuff like, gap integrity and eyes in the right place and stuff like that. But the reason that stuff gets said all the time is because it's fundamental defensive football.
Right, and I think that's what it is. It's not it's to the fact of it's like, hey, listen, let's just break this down to basics, right? Like whenever everything, it's like if you have a bad golf swing, all right, instead of trying to fix 43 things at once, you said, let's just make this simple, all right, we're playing football, here's where we need to line up, let's make sure we're doing the absolute pure basics first. And I think that's, with McIntyre, that's going to be important for this team because you have so many young guys on the squad. And I talked to Frank Martin about that a lot too, Neil, in with South Carolina basketball. Is Frank says, hey, listen, we try to get so complex with these offense and these schemes. And he goes, a lot of times I just got to get these guys on campus and say, hey, I know that you can ball, but now I need you to take 2 steps back and just think fundamentals. And he goes, if I get the fundamentals right, then all of a sudden the other stuff we're trying to install in week 3 of spring football is a whole heck of a lot easier. And I think Mike McIntyre understands that. And I think he's happy, like Rich Wide, to kind of get back down to just coaching a group inside of a ball as opposed to being the CEO of a football program.
I was interested in one of your observations, I think it may have been on Twitter, about you think the defensive line is going to be okay. And, you know, you look at Ole Miss's defensive front the last couple of seasons, it's been inconsistent. At times last season, they frankly just weren't very good there. What did you see that made you believe that they're going to be a little improved there this season?
Well, I honestly, I just take it just for straight from, you know, the words of Matt Luke. And I mean, you know, not giving out state secrets, but sitting down with them, I go, where are we going to be surprised, like pleasantly surprised, right? Like we know Matt Corral, like we know Scotty Phillips in the year that he had, but he's like, where do you think that you're going to surprise some people? And he told me he thought defensive line. And I think part of that was scheme. I think part of it is the personnel of going from a 4-3 to a 3-4. He thinks, you know, sometimes when you're changing, you know, the personnel to match up a new 3-4 defense, a lot of times it takes a year or 2 to get in. He said, hey, with the, you know, additions and subtractions we have on this team, we actually probably fit better for a 3-4 for McIntyre. So, again, I think that's just one of the things that I just took from the conversations that I had with Matt Luke. And again, this was kind of said, you know, in confidence, but I don't think I'm sharing state secrets when he thought, hey, I think he thinks the defensive line is going to be good. Hell, and Neil, I'm not an X and O guy, so I'd love to be like, hey, the gap scheme, you want that? Yeah, that'll be Booger McFarland and Marcus Spears can talk about that. But I think it's honestly just more of a product of getting more comfortable with where the schemes are for Mike McIntyre going forward.
You talk about visiting with Matt Luke. You talk to all these coaches. He's obviously how do you say this about Matt as compared to other coaches? He's got less, at least outwardly visible ego than any coach I've ever covered. I've covered a good many in a lot of different sports at different places. He's very comfortable in his own skin, kind of laid back. Is that the same sense you get when you talk to him?
You got it, right? I mean, Neil, can you imagine hiring, you know, the former Michigan and Arizona coach and a former coach here in Colorado and just going, oh, by the way, I can't wait to learn from you guys. And I think that was from the moment I met Coach Luke that I really thought that Matt was that guy. Like, you know, I vividly remember the first time I went down there after he got the gig. We went to dinner with him and Ashley and the family, and I'm like, is this weird? And you know what it really sounded like? It sounded, you know, in such a, and this is a high compliment to him, it sounded like he would look around and goes, man, I feel like I'm getting pranked. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. But he also knew it came with a great responsibility. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's awesome, because I think in the SEC and even in college sports, you know, we get these coaches that think they're on a pedestal and they think they're the smartest person. I'm here because I've done this, this, and that. And Matt's like, listen, man, I know what I don't know. And sometimes I don't know the best way to run this program or the best way to run this offense and whatnot. So I need as much help. And guess what? It was the same conversation that Dabo Swinney used to have when I talked to people that covered Dabo down at Clemson. Now, I'm not saying Ole Miss is the next Clemson, but I think it's the personality that fits, because there's no way in hell you can have an ego and hire those two head coaches as your coordinators and still feel comfortable with it. And it felt 100% natural when I was down there in Oxford.
I want to get a couple thoughts from you on SEC basketball in a second, just because of all the coaching changes. But first, I have to ask, the last view of Matt Corral that everybody got, everybody being the fans got, was, at the Egg Bowl, him getting into a fight and a lot of fire there, a lot of intensity. you've been around the league too, and I'm like you. I'm not an X and O guy, but you get around quarterbacks, and they've got to have an edge, but they also have to have control.
Yeah.
You know, it's a long game. It's 3.5 hours. You're going up against defenses at places like Alabama and Auburn and LSU. You are absolutely going to have bad series. You're going to have bad quarters. Truth is, you're going to have bad games that you have to bounce back from, and you have to be a leader and all those things. Do you sense that there's a confidence in Corral that he can do those things as a freshman?
Yeah, I was interested because the first time I went down there and I saw him, it was last year when I was down here for the spring tour and spring game. I remember seeing Matt in practice, and Jordan was so Hawaii chill, right? Like you never really you couldn't know if he won the lottery or he was having the worst day of his life. He was just all kind of just flat heartbeat kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Matt being so animated. I'm like, I'm really interested to see how this works because Matt strikes me as a guy that, with the transfer portal, my first impression was like, hey, is this guy going to be one saying, hey, I need to be playing right now? I didn't come from California to Ole Miss to sit behind somebody. But the fact that he was willing to work with the school about kind of all throughout the process of, hey, we're going to play you a couple of games here. We're going to try to keep your red shirts. You've got another year. That told me a lot about him. And even in the meetings, I kind of pushed them in a couple questions in our sit-downs that will air later on SEC Network just to get a feel for, hey, is he kind of tune me out or has he come back? Every time I kind of push him a little bit, he'd fire back, but it wasn't like I got underneath his skin. It was almost like, okay, all right, I like where this is going. And I think that's why I think the hiring a Rich Rod deal is perfect because I think he's got just enough. Rich Rod's got just enough of that kind of Matt Corral, chip and a little bit of aggressiveness that and swagger that's going to kind of work hand in hand. I think Matt's going to push Rich Rod. I think Rich Rod's going to push Matt, and I think that's good for this offense.
Yeah, that quarterback room's going to be crazy. Can you imagine? I mean, you got a new offensive coordinator, but a guy who's been a head coach at a bunch of places and knows what the heck he's doing. But he's got a redshirt freshman and 3 freshmen in that room. I mean, there's no old head to lean on. There's no veteran. There's very little experience. You got a guy that's played in a handful of games.
But that might be good.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is that now Matt knows he's the dude, right? He's setting it up as opposed to, had there been, a junior that, I go back to like Jake Bentley and Michael Scarnecchia back in South Carolina, and it was like kind of an awkward room because Jake was a young guy and he's kind of building up. Matt's the guy, and they know Matt's the guy. A lot of times when I go down to these spring tours, they don't let me talk to a quarterback unless it's 100% guaranteed, or not guaranteed, but pretty much that's going to be our guy, because they like to have this sense of competition. I didn't get that. They know Matt's the guy, and that's because they got so many youngins, and I think he'll accept that responsibility because that's why he came from California to here.
Just in general, did you kind of sense that there's kind of a relief a little bit? This NCAA thing's finally over. They got a long way to go, but obviously they're bowl eligible. There's a little different air in the room, if you will.
Yeah, I think what it is I think towards the end of last year, Matt had been preaching to the guys, hey, you're not playing for a bowl, you're not playing for the end result, you're playing for your brothers. And I think you can do that for a year, but by the time the end of it, you're sitting there going, man, when things are going bad, and this is the second year in a row I've heard this, that we got no end of the tunnel, I think it lost a little bit of its luster. And I think, not to say that's hard on Matt. I think, hell, Nick Saban would have had a hard time telling his guys, hey, man, stick with us,
Yeah, I agree.
I talked to Benito Jones about that. He's like, man, it just stunk, and now he's like, I want to have that opportunity to play in a game, a bowl game, and take it to the next level. So I think so. I think it's fresh because now it's no longer, especially on the recruiting trail, it's no longer, hey, I know it's kind of awkward with the bowl game. They can talk about it with the same amount of scholarships. They can talk about it the same as every other team about we want to try to play in postseason. And I think Matt was happy about that. And I think that's part of the outlook with both McIntyre and Rich Rod is that I don't think either one of them are, especially with their buyout situation, are looking to zoom into a new job, 6 months from now. I think that they're saying, hey, we're going to be here a couple of years. They both obviously want to coach as a head coach again, but Matt has a plan saying, hey, you're going to learn from, basically 3 coaches, and I think that's huge for Ole Miss football going forward.
Last thing, basketball still going as we tape this. There's 4 SEC teams that are still in the NCAA tournament. Ole Miss got eliminated in the first round by Oklahoma, but it was a hell of an accomplishment just to get there. Alabama just hires the Buffalo coach. There's talks about Buzz Williams and Kelvin Sampson and Johnny Dawkins. I mean, this league could be a bitch of a league next year in basketball where everybody's just really good. I mean, kind of what are your general thoughts about SEC hoops right now and maybe where they're going in the pretty near future?
Neil, whenever we launched the SEC network in 2014, we were off this high that we launched. Football season is great. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then we went into basketball season in 2014, and it was a world of suck. I'm talking about like going from 6th gear, 140 miles an hour to like school zone. It was bad. The 3 teams in it, and 1 team was a play-in game. I mean, it was the tournament. The basketball sucked.
Yeah.
It was tough to watch. And now you see it. I mean, you see that, hey, you had 7 teams and you got 4 teams in the Sweet 16, only twice it's ever been done, 96 and 86. You just watch the product and it's better. And then you watch the pavilion and how many fans are excited to see Breein Tyree and Terrence Davis. You watch, Auburn and Bruce has done with that team. So I think it's great. Now, also part of the reason of having 4 teams in the Sweet 16 and watching Kermit do such a good job in his first year is the reason why there's 4 openings in the SEC. I mean, Kermit Davis may have single-handedly cost teams, coaches their jobs because everyone looked at it and go, well, Ole Miss is a pretty good team. All right, well, let's hire Kermit Davis, who we know is a good coach. All of a sudden, boom, they win 20 games, and they're a tournament team. And so now I think, at Alabama, I think they thought that at Vandy, they thought that at A&M, that they're like, what if we do that? If Kermit can have this much success right off the bat, what else can we do? So I think that's, again, we see college football coaches get fired here for a bevy of different reasons because the expectations are high. The expectations are about to be really high in the SEC. And with the dollars and cents we have, the conference, they're only going to hire guys that are probably worthy of, $2.5 million, $3 million deal. So you're going to get some of the best of the mid-majors to come here in this conference.
I said last question. Forgive me, just ask one more because I know I'll get beat up if I don't. You spend a lot of time speaking of Kermit Davis. His predecessor at Ole Miss, Andy Kennedy, was in the SEC network studios a lot during the season. Did a lot of games. What was it like working with him, and what do you think his future is? Is it back on the coaching bench, or is he have a long-term future in broadcasting?
I hope that SOB never gets another coaching job ever again because I'll be so pissed off if I don't get a chance to work with Andy Kennedy on television anymore. He's just so much fun, man. And again, I mean, he's got this like Charles Barkley type way about him where he says stuff he probably quote unquote shouldn't say and he's not really apologetic for it. I mean, he just kind of says, hey, this is the way it is. And he thinks it's mine. So I think he'll coach again. I think there's a passion for it. I can tell, when we're doing games and he's in studio, hey, we're in Charlotte and it's kind of quiet when we're on set. And he's hearing the crowd of 16,000 or 12,000 going crazy at a game. He wants to have that juice. He wants to be around it. You know him. He enjoys the spotlight and having fun. So to me, I think he'll get back into coaching. But I think that I almost wish he would take one more year to pick and choose the right thing as opposed to just coaching the coach because he's been fantastic. And no matter what happens, he always knows he'll have a career in television because I think calling games and studio stuff, he was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant. You do a brilliant job, too. Really appreciate you. It's great seeing you in Oxford the other day. Hope to do it again soon.
Man, I can't wait to do it. Hopefully next time we can go out there, bring the red cup and go out to Swayze. I'm still pissed off every time I come down here. I don't get an opportunity to schedule at the same time that they got a home Ole Miss baseball game. So I'm overdue. So I'll hit you up and we'll tailgate properly.
All right, my man. Talk to you soon.
Later, Neil.
Thanks to Peter for giving us that amount of time there on Thursday. We'll also tell you the podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy in Oxford on South Lamar. They deliver local in the Oxford area to your home or workplace. They offer MedSync, which allows you to lock up all your medicines the same time every month. Get them on schedule. Make it easy for you to take it when you need it. We've been telling you a while about their pharmaceutical-grade CBD oil, coming in multiple different versions, including soft gel capsules and topical salves. CBD is an all-natural product that helps maintain overall health and helps regulate many conditions such as depression, anxiety, pain, insomnia, and more. It is legal in all 50 states. It is FDA approved. You're not going to have any side effects. People swear by it. Give them a call, 662-236-2222 to find out more or transfer those medications. Again, that's G&M Pharmacy on South Lamar in Oxford.
The podcast is also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust is in more than 20 states. They're based in Madison, Mississippi. They have advisors all over the place. And what they do is they provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. What you do is you give them a call. Go to their website, check them out, get in touch with them, set up an appointment, and go in. Regardless of your level of wealth, what they're going to do is they're going to sit down with you. They're going to listen to your goals. They're going to listen to your dreams, study your expenses, study your income, and they're going to put forth, it's crazy, I've seen it, it's like over 30 years, they're going to put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan. They're literally selling peace of mind, which is pretty valuable. Cookie cutter financial planners don't do that. Pinnacle Trust does. They build a plan just for you. Pintrust.com, PINN trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee. Also brought to you by Dead Soxy. Warm weather is finally getting here. And with it comes the inevitable debate of sock or no sock for your loafers. I've got some coming from my boy Parham here. Going to get him to try those out. He's been a no sock guy.
I'm a sockless loafer guy.
We're going to try some socks, and then we're going to talk about the difference.
Okay.
Because I think Chase will find that the socks save his feet and his shoes from sort of making their own introduction to the rest of us.
Do you really?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I mean that, no offense. You need to experience the difference a quality sock makes. It's go to deadsoxy.com, enter the promo code Rebel Grove at checkout to receive 30% off all orders, including sale items. So even if the no-shows, it's not what you're wanting, you need some traditional dress socks. Theirs are fantastic. They stay up. They don't slide down your calf as the day goes on. They're cool. They're great. They hold up. I'm a huge fan. I know a lot of you who have ordered are as well. So check them out. Go to deadsoxy.com. Check out the no-shows. They're the same quality you already love and enjoy with their traditional dress socks, and they come with the no-slip guarantee. Deadsoxy.com, promo code Rebel Grove at checkout for 30% off all orders.
Podcast is brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing's in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting. It just understands your market. They're a leader in condo financing and the float-down option, which allows you to lock in the current rate. But if rates go down before you close, you get that lower rate. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
I should also tell you that Peter Burns joined us on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart are attorneys at law. They specialize in personal injury law and real estate law, but that's not all they do. They have a general practice that can handle really any of your legal needs. And what they'll do for you also that a lot of people won't do, a lot of people in the legal profession won't do, if you think you have a case, you think you have a legal need, you're not sure if it's worth pursuing, call them, 662-526-1992. You're going to get either John Calvin Patterson or Wes Earhart on the phone within the same day, guaranteed, and they'll give you a free initial consultation, and they'll tell you whether you have a case or not, whether it's something worth pursuing, how you would need to go about pursuing it. They'll take care of you. They're Ole Miss guys. They're local guys, and they're really good at what they do. Check out their website, pelaws.com, and again, your initial consultation's free.
So, had something. Oh, okay. Little topic here for you. Friday kind of podcast topic because usually we have these dumb topics on Fridays. Had one of my buddies pitch this to me yesterday. I don't know where he came across it, but nonetheless, that's fine. I'll ask you. A little different. It would probably take one of the smaller sports, some kind of niche sport, maybe even like the AFL if it survives or something like that. Or what's it called?
Whatever it is, they're in trouble.
The Alliance football thing?
Yeah.
AAF or whatever it is?
Yeah, they're in trouble.
All right, so here's the deal.
Alliance of American Football.
Is that what it is?
Something.
All right. Instead of completely creating the bracket out for your postseason, okay, seed the teams, or at least whatever. In every round, let the highest seed pick their opponent.
Ooh.
Allow it to be like the playground where you just let every higher seed until the brackets fill pick who they want to play. Because you get them going out looking for matchups. You got a team pissed off if it gets picked all of a sudden or doesn't. You know what I mean? Like you got some stuff here.
Ooh, that would be interesting. That'd make Selection Sunday pretty wild.
Cubs win the division and the 1 seed. Who you want?
Here's the pool of people you can choose from.
Yeah. They pick their team, then the Phillies or Braves pick their team, and here you go.
Ooh.
You're in? Everybody watching.
You know what? In baseball, trying to get young people
might be a
hook. And it would be a great talking point. Like let's say the Dodgers were running away with the National League.
Mm-hmm.
About September 1st, the story goes, who do you think the Dodgers are going to pick?
Who do they match up with?
Yeah, who do they want to play?
And then that leaves this team, and now we've got this, and we're all over the place.
It'd be some talking points.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Be fascinating in basketball, too. Like the Warriors, you're number 1. Who you want?
Yeah.
You want the Spurs? You want the Thunder? You want the Jazz? Who do you want? Round 1.
And you do something crazy occasionally where maybe you pick a little better team, but somebody you just match up and have their number where you go, I'll take them, but they're like the 3 seed.
I mean, wouldn't it be fun if the Warriors got the 1 seed and they said, we want Oklahoma City? And you get Russell Westbrook going, oh, by God, that's it. And he plays like the Tasmanian Devil for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Or you go ahead and play the best team because, hey, we got fresh legs right now. Let's just go ahead and get after it. One of us moving on. We're going to see you anyway.
Yeah. I wonder who the Warriors would pick. Who would the Warriors pick in round 1? The choices would be Spurs, Thunder, Clippers.
7 teams.
I think they would pick the Blazers right now because the Blazers just suffered a significant injury.
Okay.
That'd be wild.
Don't hate it, do you?
No, I like it. Makes it fun.
Yeah. Fun's good. I mean,
like the Saints were the 1 in the NFC. Who would they have picked?
Who you want?
Yeah. Probably wouldn't. I guess they would have picked Philly. They wouldn't have wanted the Rams in round 1.
No, thanks. Wouldn't wanted the Bears.
They might have picked the Cowboys.
Even though that'd be another little fun one. The Cowboys would have been a pretty good matchup for the Saints, but they'd already lost to them once.
Yeah.
But it was a Thursday night on the road.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the Tennessee message board's like this morning?
This is probably a lot of we was robbed. And just a minute ago, while you were doing an ad read, I looked at the play again. It was a foul.
He didn't get him with his hand. It was with his hip. And the rule states that a shooter is a shooter until he comes back to the ground. So at any point he's in the air, if you touch him, it is technically a foul.
He got him with his hip.
But hey, here's the thing, though. We always go, they're never calling that in that situation. That's exactly what they called in that situation.
Yeah, and it's also...
It did not impact the shot at all.
It's also why you tell your players, fundamentals matter. Little things like closeouts matter. He didn't close out technically sound. And they paid for it. And they dug. I don't know how much of that you watched last night. We were dealing with something else, you and me.
Yeah, very little.
It was on in the background. I had things going on.
Same.
Yesterday was Chargerettes tryouts.
Ooh.
Caroline made it, and we
Okay.
knew she would make it.
Yeah.
But one of the girls that she's an incoming freshman, who she's kind of adopted basically, and has really been working with, she didn't make it, and there was devastation in our home last night.
Okay.
And then you and I were dealing with something. So there was a lot. We had a lot going on,
You
okay?
needed some candlesticks last
I
night.
needed some candlesticks and maybe a chicken. I had stuff going on in the house. But Purdue built this big lead, and Tennessee had to spend
Had a 14-0 run to get back in it.
Yeah, a lot of energy expended to get back in it.
Well, and I thought once it got to overtime, Tennessee would win the game because even with the foul call, they got completely bailed out because a kid who was 97% in his last 45 free throws missed the first one and then still makes the final two to get it 82-82. But here's what lost that game. Tennessee was dreadful from the free throw line. They're usually really, really good. Tennessee, one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country. They were 50% last night from the line or something. They were bad. And then Purdue hit over at least a couple dudes together, 50% from three last night. Now Purdue missed their free throws too, but 50% from three with the certain guys, that's the game you're always scared of in the NCAA tournament. You run into the game where he just throws it up and the son of a gun goes in. And it is what it is, and that's what the Klein kid from Purdue did last night because he admitted after the game, I've never shot like that before in my life, ever. But last night in Louisville it happened, and that's why they are moving on. We got two non-shot clock era games in Texas Tech and Michigan and Virginia and Oregon. Texas Tech and Virginia moving on in those that were not overly entertaining to watch. The Red Raiders with Chris Beard. Chris Beard going to back-to-back Elite Eights with Texas Tech. He can name his price. He can name his job, and they're going to be a son of a gun. Somebody's going to have to suit up and play well to knock them out of this thing.
He literally could pick up the phone right now and call a program like Arkansas and say,
Done.
Or Texas A&M even. And I know A&M, the rumor is the deal with Buzz is done.
Is that the rumor?
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick. Tennessee was 14 of 28 from the stripe yesterday. That's where you lost the game.
Yeah, it's where everybody goes, it's a call, it's one call. It's not one call. It's never one call. It's never one call.
You want a couple crazy stats real quick?
Sure.
So Tennessee, two teams mirroring each other. Tennessee, 50% from the line last night, 14 of 28.
Yeah.
50% from three, 12 of 24 yesterday. Purdue, 15 of 31 from three, 48.4%.
Yeah.
From the line, 16 of – that's really loud. From the line, 16 of 33, 48.5%.
Wow.
Yeah. Under 50 from the line for Purdue, just under 50 from three, and then Tennessee was 50 from both.
Wow.
Stupid game.
If you're Tennessee today, you're just thinking, God, if we make 5 free throws, the game's over.
Blowout. Yeah, if we just do what we normally do, just hit our free throws. Nerves. Grant Williams missed 2. Schofield missed 4.
Yeah, he was not good last night.
And then Bowden missed 5. He went 4 for 9 from the line. Bowden went 4 from 6 from 3 and 4 for 9 from the line last night. That was his line. Grant Williams missed both his threes last night. Went 0 for 2. Fun game though. Maybe the best game of the tournament. However you want to constitute that against the Purdue. The Duke UCF game. One of those two. But nonetheless, yeah. Texas Tech 63, Michigan 44, Virginia 53, Oregon 49, and then Gonzaga blew out the Seminoles 72-58 in the West region. So we've got
Auburn NC tonight.
Oh, that's right. Got Kentucky tonight.
Yeah, Kentucky's got their hands full.
What's the P.J. Williams situation tonight?
Calipari said yesterday, quote, I don't know.
Who's Kentucky play tonight?
Houston.
Houston good?
Well, Houston
beat LSU early in the season, right?
Yeah, here's what Houston will do. Houston will crash the damn boards. I mean, that's what they are all about. And so, yeah, Kentucky needs P.J. Washington's body and his 5 fouls. Without him, I'm telling you, Houston gets after the glass. If Kentucky doesn't shoot the lights out, it's trouble.
You predicting one there?
I won't be surprised. Let's put it that way.
I'll allow that. You have Auburn any shot against UNC?
Yeah, sure.
Same thing. Got to shoot the lights out.
Yeah. But, yeah, sure.
I mean, Brown can get hot. And
Auburn's playing above their heads right now. Sometimes those teams keep rolling.
Speaking of Blue Delta, early in the show, the Bracket Challenge that we are co-sponsoring in affiliation with them. If you win, you get a free pair of Blue Deltas. You get some stuff from us as well. It's still a race right now. Got one bracket with 44 correct picks so far. I don't know how many that's out of. I guess 48. Are we at 48? No. What are we at? How many games have been played?
How many teams have been? We're down to
12.
We're down to 12 teams. So there have been 60. Does that include the first round, the 2 games?
I don't know.
I can't do math like that. I went to
Either way, we have a leader with 71 points. We have a person right behind him at 70 points, then 68 points. And the more interesting thing is the person with 70 points, they've actually got more correct picks. So they might have some more people left, some more possible points coming into this thing. So it's still a race, but we are getting down to, I'd say, about 15, 20 people out of 786 brackets for that free pair of jeans on our site. 786 brackets are in place for this.
If you won the one pair of jeans, what would you get?
If it's your first,
you're not eligible to win.
I'm not. I didn't even fill out the bracket. I just entered so I could monitor the group. You have to go with some sort of normal blue jean for your first pair. Either that or the khaki 4-way stretch.
Yeah,
one of those two have to be your first pair. You've got to build a toolbox before you start going out with the crazy stuff. There's the essentials. Like if you never had a suit before, you don't go in and go, hey, that double-breasted pinstripe puppy, that's what I got my eye on. You go get the navy or the gray that you can wear to everything, wear with everything, and then you expand out from there. We always mention this. You're going to wear jeans a whole lot more than you're going to wear a suit. It's the same kind of process. You build your closet the same way, too. You go very traditional, very all around with your first pair of Blue Delta.
I think you're right.
You're not going to go jump on the pink or the Masters green, Holland and Cherry first.
Not first.
Down the road.
But some of us get to that place.
You're not taking it off the table, is what you're saying.
No. I'm pretty excited about it, actually.
Are you?
Yeah. I told you. No one. You didn't believe me, but I did it.
I know. You said it.
I'm pretty fired up about it.
What stitching did you get?
I kind of told Blake I'd trust him.
You didn't even pick out your own stitching?
Well, we talked about it. We talked about stitching.
But you didn't give a final answer.
A little gray, the baby blue, which I like a lot.
Okay.
I'm kind of excited about it.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Just saying. Podcast brought to you in part by Blow Dry Bar Oxford. 662-638-3310 is the number. And when you call them mother, daughter, father, daughter, I'm sure they'd let you. I'm sure they wouldn't discriminate. Braiding class coming up Saturday, April 13th, 9 to 10:30 for that one. Learn how. If you got a little girl, I do. I may attend myself. I'm pretty locked into this one. Got to figure out how to take care of the hair. They'll do that for you. The first one's sold out, so you need to give them a call. Also, if you're a guy and you need a haircut, call them, make an appointment. They'll even knock $5 off when you mention Rebel Grove there for that appointment, for that haircut. Again, I'm getting pretty close. We're about, we're probably 4 or 5 days away from my hair getting to the point where I feel like I need it cut, something like that. About every 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere in there.
Me too.
So we'll talk more about that as time goes on. However, you can take advantage of it now. You can also go in, you can get a gift card. We mentioned Mother's Day. You can do that with a Blow Dry Bar as well. You can get the ever-popular blowout and much, much more. Again, that's on Jackson Avenue, and that number is 662-638-3310.
I was on the Blue Delta website, and I got distracted. Went off on my own little tangent in my mind. Let's see. This podcast is also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about a big golf trip this summer, you're starting to run out of time. You need to get on that now. If you're starting to think about a cruise, going to a resort in Florida, whatever the case may be, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners. Allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. Look, John's been doing this a long time. If people say, well, why do I need a travel agent? If you're really thinking about taking a trip to Europe, or you're thinking about taking a trip to Napa, and you've not done it before, and you want it to be special, and you want it to be memorable, and you want it to be sort of seamless, and you want it to be awesome, where your wife or your girlfriend or whatever says to you, this was great, I love, this was fun. Yeah, use John. He knows. So all you have to do is you call him and you give him a budget, give him some parameters. You say, hey, I want to go to Napa. I want to go for 5 days. Here's kind of what I want to do. Here's sort of the pace that I want to go on. Here's what I want it to be. Here's the purpose, and here's my budget. And then just chill. He's going to come back with a bunch of options that you would not have found on your own. And you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. It's 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Podcast is also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals, just great service. I've been doing business with Grenada Nissan for 11 years now. You take my word for it, they're fantastic. If they don't have what you're looking for, they'll get it. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And the Ole Miss women's tennis team back at home today, 3 p.m. They take on Arkansas. And again on Sunday at 1 p.m. against Missouri. Admission is free. More information can be found at OleMissSports.com. The Ole Miss softball team back home tonight as well. 6 p.m. first pitch against the Gators of Florida. Admission is free. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com. And the Ole Miss track team is in town hosting the Ole Miss Classic on Saturday. The meet begins at 9 a.m. Admission is free. For information, go to OleMissSports.com.
So, couple games leading off the SEC in baseball for the weekend last night. Mississippi State beat LSU 6-5 in Starkville last night. The Bulldogs on quite a run early in the year, and LSU scuffling a little bit. They lost 2 out of 3 to Georgia last weekend, a good Georgia team, but still. And then losing last night. LSU now 4-3 in the SEC. And overall, 17-9 for the Tigers so far. Mississippi State is 5-2 in the league, half game back of A&M and Missouri so far. And then last night,
A&M's a beast right now, right?
A&M's playing really well. They found more pitching depth than maybe I thought they would. They're still TBA on Saturday or Sunday this week too, but they haven't even gotten the best. Doxicus, their Friday night guy, has lost one and hasn't pitched that well. So yeah, down the road they might be one to. Look, the West just is what it is. I mean, I could make a case for 6 of those 7 teams right now if I had to. So it's a bear, and then Georgia beats Kentucky last night. Georgia now looking up, they are a 6-1 in the SEC and in an East that's scrambling a little bit as well. Kentucky in the tank. Kentucky's 0-7 in the SEC so far this season.
That's fast becoming one of those weekends that if Ole Miss wants to
get 3. Yeah,
if they want to.
You seriously win 2 out. You know, we always go, oh, we never say, but that is a weekend where if you win 2 out of 3, you might have felt like you let one slip out there.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
They want to get back in the hosting conversation and stuff.
Kentucky's 15-11, 0-7.
Probably ought to sweep them.
They're not good. They're 1-10 in their last 11 games.
This weekend's got a weird feel to it. I can't decide what I think is going to happen this weekend in Fayetteville.
I'm sorry, Kentucky is 1-10 against Quadrant 1 teams. That's what that was.
It's not good.
That's not good at all. They're 3-7 in their last 10. That's not good either.
No.
Florida 5-5 in its last 10.
They ought to be an absolute powerhouse every year.
We are 2 weeks into the season, and the SEC East is down to Georgia and Vanderbilt.
Georgia and the little engine that could.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's 1-5. I mean, if they went on some run, but I don't think you're catching the other two starting 1-5.
Don't know how Tim Corbin does it. His loyalty to them. When
I wish he'd have gone to Mississippi State, where he'd had so many more resources at his disposal.
So much more.
They'd had a bigger stadium.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear about they built some apartments back in the back
Lofts.
there? Lofts. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Lofts.
Please forgive me.
Lofts.
I'm sorry.
Lofts.
I stand corrected. I will scold myself.
Got a new G-Pits is out this week. I turned it on in the car on the way over, and I was just getting to the point where I feel like we're getting off into a little bit of heavy this morning.
We got a little heavy.
It felt like the volume was being turned a little this morning when I was in the car.
We got a little heavy. One of Jay's...
Was that on purpose?
No, it just happened.
Everything with G-Pits just happens.
Yeah, everything with G-Pits is pretty organic. It's really organic. I mean, it is organic.
Like it's too organic for even like the Kroger organic aisle. You got to get this puppy at like the specialty market.
Yeah, it's like the fresh food market. Yeah. One of Jay's really good friends passed away last few days, and it's one of those deals where there's no cause of death given, and the family just sort of requested privacy, and usually that means one thing, and that's something that happens a lot, and it happens to people. Like Jay and I were talking about it before we even got started. We're kind of at that weird age. Like, I'm there. I can feel it. I'm 49 years old. Campbell's going off to college. Caroline's driving. Carson's going to be a teenager in October. You start, my parents are in their upper 70s, and life just gets weird on you. You have to, like Jay and I talked about this, you have to kind of work. See, we're getting deep here. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. You kind of have to work to be happy. You kind of have to decide to be happy a little bit.
Oh, there's a certain element of happiness as a decision.
There's no question about it. And I'm not.
From grudges to just worries to, and I get there are certain worries that are very severe.
Yeah.
And you can't get out of your mind.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I do think there are certain things that we put on ourselves that if someone can help you itemize it, you can realize that it's not maybe that big crater or boulder that you think it is.
Yeah, it's that deal where, there's stuff that happens and I'm not the guy that will ever belittle any sort of mental illness, because I think some of us, hand-raised, have a tendency to go down that path. It's easy. There are people out there, and these are the people that I'm the most jealous of in the world. I mean, all hair jokes and stuff aside, I'm not jealous of people's hair. I am jealous of people who have this almost carefree, totally just, and when I say self-confident, I don't mean arrogant. I just mean they're just comfortable in their own skin, and they're all good, and they seem to have their priorities just kind of nice and even and level, and they're just sort of, like we talk about it with athletes, we're like, wow, he's just so free. You see an athlete that moves so free, and there are people that are that way in life, and I'm jealous of those people. I'm envious of them. And so I don't know, what we talked about was just the value of finding someone to talk to, because there's so many men that are out there, and our audience is really male. If you're one of these guys that, man, you don't need to talk to anybody about anything, kudos to you. Great for you. You have been given a gift. I hope you understand what a gift you got. That you're one of these people that you're cool. It's all good. But if you're one of these people that you're kind of like me, and you got a lot in your head, and you got a lot that weighs on you, and you never talk about it with somebody, it's a mistake. Don't be ashamed. That's what we talked about. Don't be ashamed to reach out to, whether it's friends or family, or you don't want to reach out to them, go get a professional to help you. Sit down and talk to somebody. And like Jay said, there's a suicide hotline. Call the number. It's easy to find. Google it. Call the number. Talk to somebody. That's what he was just moved by, the fact that here was this person that he had no idea was going through whatever he was going through. And I've never been the guy where people go, that's the most selfish thing in the world. I understand why people say that, But I think to get to that place, you're no longer thinking about what it would do to other people. If you're at a place where you feel, I would guess, completely hopeless. And I would think that you eliminating yourself will make it easier on some of the people in your life, not harder. You're no longer thinking all that rationally. So that's where G-Pitts went for a little while, was talk. Because guys get in that deal where it's not cool to have feelings. It's not cool to talk about your feelings. It's not cool to express your feelings. It's not cool to express heartbreak or hopelessness.
Emotion in general.
Emotion in general. You feel like, your career's not going where it's supposed to go, or your marriage or your anything, whatever it may be, and talk to somebody. Take it from somebody who kind of went down that road a little bit. And I talked to somebody, and it helped in innumerable ways. Because you talk about toolbox, we were talking about Blue Delta and the toolbox. A lot of times those professionals will give you a toolbox that you can, when you start going down that road, that you can pull out some of the tools that they give you to sort of get yourself back into a better place.
Yeah. No real great segue out of that. But,
no, but it's you know what? I said this on Twitter yesterday. I'm glad. I was proud of that show. I'm glad we talked about it, because if one person heard that who was kind of hurting a little bit and said, "All right, I'm going to make a phone call," then that show. Yeah.
More important than everything else we do.
All 52 episodes of Greatest Pod in the South paid off.
Yeah. In
that right there. Because Jay's crazy and all that stuff. I get it, but Jay's a guy that just recently, nothing major. I mean, he wasn't like suicidal or anything, but just was kind of going through some weird stuff. Had a lot of stuff happen in his family life.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Had a lot going on, and like he and I talked about it. I was like, go talk to somebody, and he did, and I mean, he loved it. I mean, I'm sure a therapist sat down with Jay Tate, and it was like, wow, this is pretty interesting, but
because he's very, I mean, in all seriousness, he's very complex. I mean, he goes across the gamut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
But it helped him work through some things.
Everybody sees this goofy guy, but he's far from some one-trick pony. I mean, he's pretty deep.
He joked about how he kind of, when she looked at him and said, "You don't need me anymore," he was like, "God, but I like this. I want to come back." And she's like, "No, you're officially now wasting my time because I can help people." But she helped him, and there are people out there who can help you if you're going through it. So don't feel like you're alone. You're not. There are people who can help you. So that's it.
Pro Day at Ole Miss today. You'll find, as we mentioned yesterday, plenty of social media nuggets from that.
Someone's going to run a 4.17 today at Ole Miss, guys, on an iPhone. They're going to tear it up. Going to blow you away.
I mean, they ran 4.23s in high school, so what's the difference? They got better, Neil. That's what they do. You develop in college.
It's amazing. It's amazing to me that these high school kids get slower as they get older.
They regress throughout their college careers.
It's so weird. The kid that ran a 4.2 in high school runs a 4.6. It's just, I don't know what these college coaches are doing to ruin these kids. It's bizarre.
We really should go to a lot of the high schools and figure out the training programs.
We should. Yeah, that's what Paul Jackson needs to do. The Paul Jacksons of the world, they need to go to some of these high schools and go, "What are you doing? How's he running that 4.21?
Help me
figure it out." Because he comes here and he runs a 4.57, and I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I love his, like, let's put him on the laser.
Let's see what that looks like.
Here comes reality, boys and girls.
It doesn't lie.
We're about 5 seconds away from reality.
Almost right at 5 seconds away, actually.
Literally about 0.2 of a second shy of reality.
Oh, all right. Thanks again to Peter Burns. We will have plenty more guests as the weeks pile on. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Plenty of coverage at rebelgrove.com. In the meantime, I'll have some thoughts over the course of the weekend on baseball. They're in Fayetteville tonight, ESPNU, tomorrow, SEC Network. So 2 games on national television there prior to Sunday, back on online only. I'll link the online stuff in the story out front on rebelgrove.com, so you can find that there and more. We'll talk to you on Monday.